Page 170, number 16. Create a scatter plot of the data. Let p equal 8 correspond to 1998. Find a quadratic model for the data and use the model to find when sales will exceed $2 billion. All right, we've got three parts here. First of all, create a scatter plot. So we know a scatter plot means we've got some x values and some y values. Our x's are the years. We'll get year over here. Our y values are the sales. We'll put a $sign right here. Now it tells us to let t equal 8 correspond to 1998. So it's saying that instead of using 1998, let's use 8. 1999 would then be 9, 10, 11, and so on and so on. Our sales in millions of dollars go from about 1,400 to about 1,800. So let's get a graph of these points. So our year, we're not starting at 0, so let's put a little symbol like this to show that we're starting at 8. And we're going up to 14. Our y values, again, we're not starting at 0, so let's put this symbol again to show that, hey, we're going to start here at about 1,400. Let's go up here to 1,900. Okay, so now that our scale is set, let's put these points here. So for the year 8, we have about 1,469. For the year 9, we have about 1,502. For the year 10, we have 1,638, which is somewhere up here. For the year 11, we have 1,670. For the year 12, we have 1,733. For the year 13, 1,802. And the year 14, we have 1,838. Okay, so there's our scatter plot. Now, you might look at that and say, hey, those points look pretty linear. It looks like a straight line. So we could find a linear model, but be careful. Our directions here state find a quadratic model. So let's do as we're told here. So our best bet to find a quadratic model, let's get our calculator out and let's press our stat key and enter to enter our data into our calculator. So list 1, we'll put our x values, and let's put our values as 8, 9, 10, etc. Just like we graphed them on our scatter plot. So we've got 8 through 14. And our y values we'll put in list 2. That's our sales in millions of dollars. So we'll start with 1,469, and we'll get the rest of the data in here as well. Now once we have all this data entered, we're going to use our calculator to find the quadratic regression model, which means the best fit quadratic equation, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so we've got all of our data entered. Let me press my stat key again. I use edit to enter data or to change data. I can go over to calc to calculate something about our data. We've used linear regression in the past. Because the directions ask us to, we're going to use quadratic regression here. And we're using quadratic regression on the data in list 1, comma, list 2. And there's our general form of the equation, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. I'll write this as y equals negative 3.0, let's go 2 decimal places, 3.07 x squared plus 131.93 x plus 597.29. Okay, so there's our equation. And let me get rid of some of this stuff here. Okay, so we've made the scatter plot like we're asked to. We have come up with the equation of the best fit parabola, the best fit quadratic equation. Now, third thing we're asked to is to use the model to find when sales will exceed $2 billion. So $2 billion, that's our Y value here. Careful, you don't want to plug 2 billion in place of Y because these sales numbers are in millions of dollars. So where it says 1 or 1469, this means 1.469 billion, 1.5 billion, 1.6 billion. So $2 billion means a Y value of 2,000. Now there's a couple things we could do here. We could plug 2,000 in place of Y, subtract it from both sides, use the quadratic formula to solve for X. That's kind of a lot of work here. Let's see if we can let our calculator do the work for us. Let me show you a shortcut. What I want to do is graph this equation and then trace it to find where Y will equal 2,000. Now I could press my Y equals key and type that whole equation in there. Or, a little shortcut here, it actually gives us a better answer. If I do the same command I had before, quadratic regression of the data in list 1 and list 2, then I type comma. This key here is my variables key. What I want to do is get a Y variable. I'll press enter here and enter again. Let me go back there so I can show you what I did. I think I went too fast. I'm defining the quadratic regression equation of the data in list 1 and list 2, and I'm putting that equation into the Y equals menu in place of Y1. So when I press enter, I get the same answer I had before, but when I press Y equals, there's that equation in there. Notice all the decimal places are there, so this will be my most accurate graph I could make. I'm going to press my window key and make the window of my graph the same as the scales of the scatter plot I made before, so my x's will go from 8 to, let's go past 14. I'll tell you why in just a bit. Let's go to 20. My y's will go from 1400, and let's go past 1900. Let's go about to 2100. And now when I press graph, there's my curve. That curve kind of looks like, in fact, it should look like the best curve that'll fit through these points. Now what I want to do is trace that curve until I find where my Y value is 2000. Now, remember I made my scale a little bigger than what it needed to be because to find the year when my Y value is 2000, I have to go a little bit higher up than the data I have in this scale over here. So I want to get as close as possible to a Y value of 2000. So if I trace as far over here as I can, I might have to go off my graph a little bit. That's okay. Whoops, I went past it. Right here, I have a value very close to Y equals 2000, and my X value in that case is very close to 19. Now careful, that doesn't mean in the year 19 our sales exceed $2 billion. That means in the year, well, since these years go 8, 9, 10, the year 19 will correspond to the year 2009. So that means for this data in this model, in the year 2009, sales, if they follow this model, exceeded $2 billion.